Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whichever country, whichever time zone you'll be watching this webinar from or where you're joining in from. So once again, welcome to our weekly webinar series on training transfer effectiveness. And if you notice, what is showing is the training transfer effectiveness journey continues/begins. So for people like Emmanuel, the journey continues. Emmanuel is our training transfer effectiveness champion in Ghana. Let's give it up for Emmanuel. So I have the other screen that has the laptop that is showing Coach Sandra. That's me. So Emmanuel, we are giving it up for you. Ta-da! So Emmanuel is our
Thank you.
You're welcome, Emmanuel. Is our training transfer effectiveness champion in Ghana. And so for people like Emmanuel, we are saying the journey continues. But I think I see new faces. I see Stanislaus. Hope I got that right. Stanislaus Derry. Welcome. This is the first time we are saying you. I see Muniret Ba. Welcome. Asamoah. Welcome. So for you, the journey begins. For people like Emmanuel, the journey continues. So today we're going to be looking at how do we link business objectives with the training objectives. How do you link it? Then we'll look at training scrap, then we'll look at training transfer effectiveness. I know we've done that before earlier in the year. So let's try to refresh the memories of those that, like, we have people just joining us, refresh their memory. However, Samson, my colleague, is going to drop our YouTube channel, the link on the chat box. Please go and watch the videos. That's the only way you'll be able to learn a whole lot more. We started since January. This is July already. So we've done like 6 months. So there are so many things we've done. So go and watch the videos. It will help you a whole lot. And so that's what we'll be talking about today. Let me welcome you once again. Welcome. So glad you are here. And introductions. Let's get to meet ourselves. So please type into chat where you're joining in from, your name, the role, and where you're joining in from. Your name, the role, and where you're joining in from. Emmanuel, because of our new participant, if you don't mind, please do us the honor of also typing in your name, your country, your role. Okay, so do you want to type into chat? While I wait for you to type into chat, I will continue because of the time factor. I'll continue. And so this is me. For Emmanuel already knows this, right? Yes, Emmanuel already knows this. But for the new people that have joined in, I'm saying I will just read a bit about myself. Okay, I see Emmanuel. Emmanuel has written. So Emmanuel Adetwin Jr. is the same coach. He works with same coach. He's a team lead and L&D coach. And Emmanuel is in Ghana. Yeah, Emmanuel is in Ghana. So I see another message pop in. Muniret Ba Asamoah is from Ghana to administrative and HR officer. Welcome, Muniret. Welcome. I think we have someone else that is here to. So please feel free to introduce yourself. Just type into chat, introduce yourself, and I would read out Stanislaus. Hope I got that right. This name, Stanislaus. Yes. I'm so sorry. I hope I'm not murdering your name. Please introduce yourself if you don't mind. And Udwak is not a new person. Udwak joined us for the first time last week. Udwak, because of the new guest we have in the house, if you don't mind, please also your name, your role in your organization, and where you're joining in from. So this is a bit about myself. So my name is Sandra Yanacho. I'm known as the Oracle, and I'm also known as the Training Transfer Effectiveness Advocate. They call me now Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness because in Africa, I am the voice that is crying out about training transfer effectiveness. I'm the voice crying out, let there be ROI and ROE for every training investment. So I'm known as Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness. I work with an organization called Bryan Consulting Limited. Is a human capital development organization here in Lagos, Nigeria, and we are high on ROI and ROE for our services. And one of our services we render is training, and that's why I've been doing this webinar, this free webinar since we started this since January. And so that's a bit about what we do. I don't want to talk. If you Samson, please type on the chat, put up our company company website address. People can go there and check us out. So it's www.mbryan consultinggroup.com. I'll take that again. www.mbryan's then BRYAN consultinggroup.com. Thank you very much, Samson. And so I'm an ex-banker. I started my banking career in the then Citizens Bank in 2001. Yes, 2001. It's a bank in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. I'm a mother of 5 lovely children, 3 boys and 2 girls. I'm an IFC Global Master Trainer. IFC stands for International Finance Corporation. I'm their Global Master Training on FFF, face-to-face training. I also do training for what we call, it's a hybrid whereby everything we do physical, we do it online. So it's a virtual online, real-time online certification for the IFC. I do that. I'm also a certified assessor with the Learning Performance Institute, certifying trainers globally. I do that. I'm a transfer enabler for Africa. I work with the Institute for Transfer Effectiveness in Switzerland, and I'm in charge of Africa, helping them certify trainers to have these competencies using the 12 levers. And that 12 levers is showing you the tools and how to show ROE and on how to show tools to measure transfer, to be able to put transfer in place, to be able to show ROE for your training. So that's what the 12 levers are for. Then I'm also a resource person with the Lagos Business School here in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Nigeria's first certified transfer designer. I'm a certified transformational coach, a certified team and group coach, a certified Kirkpatrick professional. I'm high on ROI and ROE. Kirkpatrick is high on ROE, return on expectation. And so I'm certified in the bronze level. I'm undergoing the silver now to be certified very soon. So that's a bit about myself. And I think I see something on the chat box. Let me just quickly read. I think that should be someone introduced. Okay, Udwak says, head of HR and admin, Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much, Udwak. We are here to hear from Stanislaus. Yeah. Okay, so difficult roads leads to beautiful destinations. I'm sure you agree with me. Difficult roads leads to beautiful destinations. It's not, you want to be able to show ROI and ROE for your training investment. That's why you're here in this webinar. Some of you just got back from work. Some of you maybe got back from work an hour ago or so. Some of you are you've not even rested, you've not eaten, and you're here. You could as well have said, I will not be here. So unlike me, I've been sitting on this seat since morning, working. And if I had my way, I wouldn't have had this webinar today because I'm tired, I'm fagged out, and I've not finished the deliverables I have for today. However, one of the beautiful destinations we want to see African companies, we want to see organizations beat their hand on their chest and say, because of we've been attending this webinar and what we've learned from Sandra from Bryan Consulting, we've been able to show ROI and ROE for our training investment. That's a wonderful destination we want to get to. Difficult for me? Yes, because if I had my way, I won't be in this webinar. Yes. So, but I'm looking at the destination where we're heading to, and that's why I'm here. So I guess you have your own story just like me. So these are our objectives for today's webinar. By the end of this session, you should be able to start at least 2 business objectives for 2025 and beyond. Don't forget what our objective for this webinar is. We're trying to, how do you tie your business objectives with your training objectives? What is TTE, training transfer effectiveness? How do you avoid training scrap? So those are the 3 things I want to, within the next hour, look at. I hope I'll be able to complete that. Another objective we want to look at is, at the end of this session, you should be able to describe training scrap and its business implication. It is happening in your organization and it will keep happening. How do you avoid and stop training scrap? That's what we're going to be looking at. Again, you're going to explain what training transfer effectiveness truly means. And last but not the least, you should be able to identify 6 components. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I spoke about that last week. We'll just refresh our memory. What I call the TTE ecosystem, the training transfer effectiveness ecosystem. The factors or components that are necessary for you to show TTE. Without these components, without working on them, no matter what you do, TTE would not show, will not even be complete. You'll not even get the actual, you'll not be able to get the actual ROI or ROE for your training investment. So these are our objectives for today's session. How are we going to go about it? Our roadmap, Q&A to resolve any uncertainty, case study. I have a case study for you we're going to be using. I love case studies. And the case study will bring the issue to life. Interactions, which we're already doing, and you reflect and apply. Then your next line of action, commit to forward movement. So that will be our roadmap to achieving today's objective. Before we go, what we usually do, is there anybody, Edward, you were here last week. Also, Emmanuel, you were here last week. What were you able to apply last week from all we learned last week? So by the way, Stanislaus Muniret, this is what we do when we come every week, because we are high on application. Even with the webinars we do, what's that word? We expect all those that attend the webinar to do something differently every week. We cannot be talking about application. You attend the webinar, you don't do anything for a whole week, and you come again every Thursday. It's a waste of your time, a waste of our time, and a waste of your resources, because you're paying for the data you're using to join, and a waste of our own resources. So we said, no matter how it is, we said little drops of water make an ocean. No matter how tiny it is, you have to do something. After this webinar, before the next one, do something. What have you done? What improvement have you been able to? What have you been able to apply? What have you been able to do? So let me give the opportunity to Emmanuel and Udwa, because there were the 2 people that were in class that were together with us last week. Who wants to go first? Udwa, Emmanuel, who wants to go first?
Emmanuel.
Oh, okay, Emmanuel, thank you. Over to you.
Yes. Yeah, Coach, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. So, taking it from last week, the what I learned and what I did, I'm so excited to share with you. And so, what I remember you made us to understand was the fact that there was a need for us to work together with the stakeholders when it comes to the transfer of training. That when someone goes for training and comes back, or when an organization is organizing a training, all the stakeholders involved, from CEO, from line managers to HR, and to all the other stakeholders who matter, there was a need. And I raised the question, and you made me understand that there is a need for us to. There is a possibility that these parties may even resist you. You may have some resistance, and they may not cooperate with you. And so, as part of what I planned to do was to start learning how to build relationship, or learning relationships building skills. Because when I asked you what can be done, you told me that we need to build relationship with them. So with the leaders of the organization, so that I will be positioned to have their buy-in. That is the key word, buy-in before training commences. And so I'm glad to see that I have taken my first bold step to meet my clients to discuss their training needs, and I hope to use the PDP model in my interaction with them. And so I have a company that wants me to come and train. But interestingly, when they called me, the first thing they said was, "We want your invoice." And I said, "I wish to speak to." I said, "I've not done training needs assessment. I need to really speak with people who matter in your organization." And they said, "All right, they will make arrangements for me to meet the group of people, or the people I will need to speak to." And so I'm hoping to start the conversation any moment soon. And so I'm going to spend time to listen to the PDP lessons very well, so that I'll be able to be positioned right as I build the relationship with them. Thank you, Coach Sandra, for everything.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. I appreciate you. Then it seems it is because of you I decided to take this webinar today, because this will help you. So even though they've told you to come and train for them, Emmanuel, you have to enter there to find out, is it training that is their problem? Because it might not be training that is the problem. So that's an assumption. They feel training is the problem. It just might not be training that is the problem. Which is, so you need to maybe go back to watch the video on the MVP. I don't know if I'm going to talk about it today. If I have time, the needs validation process. Go back to it and watch it. Is it really a training need? Because sometimes it may not be a training need. It may just be a non-training intervention, whereby it is a coaching issue, whereby it is a mentoring issue, whereby it is just to rotate, job rotation issue, whereby it is job aids issue, whereby there's they need job aids. When we talk about job aids, we talk about the templates, whereby it might also be a systemic issue. So it may not be training issue. However, the problem I found out with organizations, anytime there's any performance gap, performance issue, training, send them on training. So I want you to change that narrative. When you go to have that conversation, so go and watch that video. When you have that conversation with them, find out from them. And they use the MVP is a first step. With that, you're able to find out, is this a training? I shared with you people now of a real case that happened with our organization, an organization that came to us for training. And at the end, it was an integrative approach. It wasn't an integrated approach. It wasn't just a training need, right? Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, Udwak, do you want to share with us? I hope I'm not putting you on the spot.
Well, okay, yes. So there's this organization that I'm working with, and they haven't done any formal training, formal or informal knowledge transfer, and time has passed, right? And so there's an interesting way of doing things. People have not learned in a structured way. So because of that, they cannot pass the knowledge in a structured. So one of the things, they're low-hanging fruit. So one of the things we considered, they identified the needs, identified the gaps. One of the things we considered was launching an LMS, because of the widespread, and it's in little things, even communicating, writing emails, right? And what we did was that we made it wide and gave everyone timelines. The purpose was each manager was assigned the same trainings, their people were assigned. The idea and what was clearly communicated is, if, for example, that one on communication and email writing, right? If someone does something wrong, you now have a structure to use and correct the person. So that's one of the things that has been implemented. But the concern is, are the managers actually referencing this structure? That's one. And how can they actually be convinced that it works? So it's an answer and also a question, because you know how sometimes as HR people we are passionate about things, we understand the impact, we communicate it, and the manager says yes, yes, right, and goes away. I was like, so how can we be sure that they're actually doing it?
Okay, so this is a question you're asking. Does it have anything to do with maybe, okay, so but what did you, we'll come to the question. Is there anything you learned from last week you were able to apply before we go into this question? Was there anything you learned from last week you were able to apply throughout?
No, not ideal. No, not at that time last week. But I know that there are several things that we are working on for next week, actually, that I would need to fine tune.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much. Okay, so now to briefly answer your question, so we can go into what we have today, is why, first of all, did you people set KPIs, measurable, whatever it is you've told them, like the communication on the LMS you've told them to watch? How would you know that they are doing it, they are applying it? The essence is not, your challenge is not for them to watch, to do the training on the LMS. That's not your end goal. That's not the outcome. The outcome is whatever that training, correct me if I'm wrong, whatever that training is supposed to bring, the impact, that is what you want. Not that they should do the training. Are we on the same page?
Yes, we are.
So it is the outcome, the impact. What, after they've gone for this training, what are they going to do after? So has that been intentionally curated? Do you have it in measurable terms, like 2, 3? If you don't have it, you cannot measure if they are doing it or not.
Okay, I see what you mean. That's something that I need to look at.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's move ahead. Now today we are talking about, I love this part I'm want to talk about. Before we talk about any training, you must first get it clear on the business objectives. I see, sometimes I get tired. I just try not to. I get a bit frustrated. However, I just try not to show my frustration. How would you be sending people on training that has no connection with the business objectives, either directly or indirectly? Because there are some training that you may not be able to connect directly to the business objectives. That's fine. However, indirectly, you can connect it to the business objectives. But when it has nothing to do with the business objective, that's training scrap. That's training scrap already. Thank you so much, Samson. Samson has shared the link to the needs validation process webinar. Thank you so much, Samson. That's already training scrap. So if you don't know what your business is trying to achieve, your training will, quote me anywhere, your training will miss the mark and it will lead to training scrap. Your training will what? Miss the mark and it will lead to training scrap. So even before you talk about any training, the very first thing for you to do is, what is the business objective? Clarify it first. Because it is the very first step in helping you to design transfers and deliver ROI and ROE. I'm not going to talk about MVP today. Something has dropped the link. I want to believe that you have done that part and now you are in what? You have found out that this is a training need. Now the next thing is to do what? Is to tie it, to find out, is it aligned to the business objective? So I'm going to encourage you, as you're sitting here in class, I want you to think deeply about your organization. Now please do not feel bad if I say this, even those that may be watching it. There are a lot of HR and L&D people, trainers. Okay, let's leave trainers. HR and L&D people that do not know that cannot articulate the business objectives of the organization. And if you're one of them out there, please and please go and learn. Go and find out. Ask and find out. So I encourage you now, so think deeply about your organization's business goals or business objectives. What is it trying to achieve? Is it growth? Is it expansion? Is it increase? Is it productivity? Is it culture reformation? Whatever it is, what is it trying to achieve? Is it efficiency? Which is why some would decide to get in more new product, AI product and all that, to know how to be more efficient in what is it? Now, look at on your left hand side, you can see the diagram I have there. Now, you can see the point. So first is the strategic goals. What is the strategic goal of your organization? When you've gotten that, the next thing we talk about is the performance metrics. And the performance metrics means, how will success be measured? You just heard what based on what Uduak was asking, the explanation I just gave her. How can you measure it? What KPIs will show you progress towards these goals here we have here? What KPIs will show you that really you're getting to these goals? That's what we talk about performance metrics. Then the next thing is value creation. How does your organization create value for your customers, either for the internal team, which is your internal customers, or your external customers, or the clients? How are they creating value? Value creation, how? Then last but not the least is this, what we call priority initiatives. And what do we mean by that? What are the projects? What are the programs? Or what are the actions that as a business people have prioritized and said, this is what we have to do to achieve these goals? Do you know? Is it only the sales and marketing? Is it only those in strategic department? Is it only those in finance that know? Do you as HR and L&D know? If you do not know, today is a wake-up call for you. You must know what the strategic goals are. What are the performance metrics? How do you measure to know that you're getting this? What are the value creation? How do you want to create value? Then what are your priorities? What projects do you want to use? What programs? What actions would you use? Will you prioritize to be able to achieve those goals you are talking about? Because just like I said, every training must at least, one of these 4 elements must have an element, and one of it. And that's why I said it could be indirectly or directly to the strategic goal or the objective. It could be indirectly or directly. So at least your training should be able to, either it's hitting on the value creation, it's hitting on the priority initiatives, or because at the end it all goes back. These 3 links back to the strategic goals. Okay, let's go. I can see a message on the chat box. Okay, that's something. Okay, so let's go straight into the case study I have for us today. And it's called the clarification of business objectives. Clarification of business objectives. Now let's look at this. So these are a practical example. So imagine an organization whose goal is to expand into new markets. What do you think? Let me just ask. What do you think?
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Who is there?
Okay.
Welcome, Zarawo. Okay.
Yeah, hello.
Welcome. Yeah, hi, welcome. Also, welcome, Damilola. Welcome. Okay, so let's continue. Now I'm asking, imagine an organization whose goal is to expand into new markets. Their goal, that's their strategic goal, that this year 2025 we want to expand into new markets. Let me throw it open. What do you think the performance metrics will be? What do you think? It could be anything, just try. What do you think it could be? Is there anybody that wants to try? Okay, let me take it that this is your organization. They want to expand. One of the goals of your organization is to expand into new markets. What do you think one of the performance metrics will be? Okay, so nobody, not a problem. Let's continue. Get ready, because you're going to do the next exercise. You will tell us what your business objectives are. What are the strategic goals? Give us just one for your organization. Okay. Since nobody, let me go ahead. Okay, I see something on the chat box. Okay, Derry Stanishlus is from Ghana and is the WA map field officer. Okay, welcome, Derry. Welcome. Okay, so let's move ahead. So now this could be one of their performance metrics. Number of new customers acquired. Remember that I said their goal is to what? Expand into new markets. And how they want to be able to measure this goal of expanding into new markets is based on the number of new customers they acquire. Yeah, Emmanuel, yes. So we're just saying the same thing. Emmanuel says presence of customers in the new markets. Yes. So, but this organization is saying the number of the new customers they will acquire. That's their own way of knowing that they've really penetrated into the new markets. Thank you, Emmanuel, for that. So this is what their performance metric is. Now the business is looking, what will be their value creation? And this is what they are saying. They want to create value by offering localized customer support. That's how they want to create value. Don't forget I said in value creation, it means how does the business want to create value? Is it for the customers? If the goal is around customers? Is it for their clients? Is it for the internal teams? Based on where your goal is, you come up with how do we want to create this value. So now this organization says the one way they want to create value is to offer localized customer support. That's one way. Another way they said they want to create value is they say we've talked about the value. There are one of their priority initiatives in order to ensure that they meet up with this goal. This is what they said, that they want to train regional sales teams. Don't forget what they said was to expand into new markets. So now in expansion into new markets, for them to be able to measure that, they are looking at the number of new customers they acquire. Now, in their creating value, they are saying, when we go to this new markets, we are looking at giving customized support to the locals there, to the locals. Let's give them support to ensure, and by doing this, I'm sure they will be getting those new customers since they are reaching these locals to be able to give them the support they need. And for them, one of their priority initiative is what? They said, for us to be able to achieve this, don't forget what I said priority initiative is. It's talking about what projects, what programs, or what actions, or it could be all of them joined together, right? Do they want to prioritize to achieve this goal? Now, their goal is to expand into new markets. What they want to prioritize is they want to train all the regional sales team. Why? Because this regional sales team will be going to these localities, to offer this customized support to them. So for them, a priority is what? To train regional sales team. So now, if you are going to design a training, what would the training be? I asked the question and one person said that the training should be on time management. That's okay. Do you agree with that? I hope I'm not talking to only myself in this class. I know it's a webinar, but I need interaction, not just me talking and talking. Do you agree with what the person said, that they should do a training on time management? Okay, it seems Oracle, you're on your own today. No one is speaking. Okay, let me continue. Excuse me. If you're going to design training for these people, it must directly align to their expansion goal. Not something random like you want to. They've said you want to do time management training. How does time management training? Priority, listen, you have limited funds. You don't have so much funds. How does that align to them expanding to new markets? Is that a priority? Time management. Right? So it is what it is. You must be able to what? Align your business objectives to whichever training you're doing. Let's move forward. So before training can be aligned, the business goal must be clear. I think I've said that. In your organization, what are the business goals? As well as maybe the top 2 to 3 strategic priorities for 2025 and beyond. Is there anybody that wants to share with us? Is there anybody that wants to share with us? What are your business goals? Or is this something you want to think about? Or it should be at the tip of your fingers? Or you want to check somewhere? What are your business goals as an organization for 2025 and maybe beyond, depending on what kind of goal your organization sets? Some sets 3-year goal, some 5-year goal. Okay, nobody's responding. The oracle, continue. I needed you to write them down. And I don't mean your department level task. I mean the enterprise level, the organization, the business. So what are they? So think about it, even if you may not be responding now, and those that may be watching this video, it should help you go back to reflect. Do I know the business goals or objectives of our business for 2025? Because that would help you to be able to see if you are a training and order taker or you're a performance consultant. And that is what you should be. L&D and HR, you should be performance consultants, not an order taker. Order, ORDER. Finance tells you, I want train my staff on P&L. You don't even have no conversation. You go ahead and train. Marketing, sales and marketing calls you, train my staff on delegation. You agree. You look for a company that will train. Anything goes. No more. It ends. As you're listening to me, it ends. No more an order taker. You are supposed to be a strategic partner. You are supposed to be a performance consultant. You are supposed to, and that's why you don't have a lot of HR&L and they don't have the seats at the table, because the organization has not seen the value you're bringing in. And when there's an issue where they need to cut costs, they first go to a training budget because they cannot see the value. Immediately, they slash training budget. So when do we now start? We don't even need to tell them. They invite us to the seat, to the table without us even asking. We are invited. So an assignment for you: think of your business goal, the strategic priorities of your business as an organization for 2025 and maybe beyond. Write them down. Not department level tasks, not departmental objectives, because you know your department objectives, they cascade from the bigger goal, your enterprise level objectives. Then another question for you: are these objectives clearly known across teams? I hear people, when their line manager doesn't carry them along, they say they don't even know what is happening. They don't even know the objective for the department. Is that what's happening in your business? Are you ensuring that your line managers carry along those that work with them? Do they know what it is? What's the objective for them as a business, as a department? Do they know all these things? And do these things reflect in the training? And that is why you see trainings that has nothing to do with the business. Do they reflect in the trainings? Let me even ask again. I hope someone will answer me this time. Do most of your business objectives, does it reflect on the training your people go for? Does it reflect on the training your people go for? What I'm trying to do for you now, I need you to start practicing business alignment thinking immediately. That's what I'm just trying to do. HR, L&D, you must know the business. You must talk business language. Stop talking training language. Stop talking training language, L&D language. Talk the business language. Business language, that is the language you should be speaking. Not training HR language. No, that ends. Most of your trainings do not reflect your business objectives, and that's why they will always scrap it. So what I'm trying to do for you today is to what? Reorientation. I'm giving you to reorient your minds and start thinking in a business way. Start practicing business alignment. Start thinking business alignment with all your training investments, starting from immediately. And so for people like Emmanuel, that is a trainer, which is what we are, we don't do any business with anybody that we don't align their training to their business objective. It can't work now. Who won't work with you? We must align the training to the business objective. If not, we will not work with you. It has happened not once, not twice, not 3 times, and we turned it down. If you don't want, because that will be that, you cannot even see, and that's why you'll be looking for how to prove training. You don't need to look for how to prove anything. It is very clear. Data doesn't lie. Data speaks. Okay, so we'll move ahead. Please feel free to ask questions if you need to. So when we clarify business objectives first, training becomes a business solution, not an event. How many of your training is an event? People go there to while away time. People go there to eat good food. People go there so that they can have per diem, ESTA code if it's out of the country. People go there to relax, to go away from the evil line managers. People go there to to flex. Training is seen as an event, a tick in the box. However, when you start clarifying what is the business objective this training will solve, everything turns around. It changes. There's a shift immediately. Training now becomes a business solution. How can you start showing the business that training is a business solution, not just one of those things every year that people must do? There are some things you don't need to do. There are some trainings you don't need. People go ahead with it. There's some investment you don't need to make. You go ahead to make it because you see other people doing it. And what happens when you don't do this? It becomes training scrap. But if you're able to do this, you avoid training scrap and you start being seen as a strategic business partner, as a strategic partner. For those, okay, we will look at what training scrap is very soon. Okay, so let's move ahead now. What exactly is training scrap? What is training scrap? Training scrap is a term that was coined by me. Training scrap, the very first person and it wasn't training scrap the person coined. What was coined was scrap learning. So if you check online, it's being attributed to different people. It's being attributed to Professor Robert Brinkerhoff, who is one of the godfathers of evaluation. It's being attributed to someone called Richard, I can't remember again. So they talked about scrap learning, the part of learning that is not applied. That's what scrap learning is. Check it online now, even as we're speaking. After that, in the early 90s, Roy Pollock, ROYPOLLOCK, when he coined learning scrap. So the next one that was coined was by Roy Pollock in his book, The 6 Disciplines of, I think the 6 Disciplines, I can't remember it. It's a book, The 6 Disciplines of, sometimes you also find the name of the book, the title of the book. I've read the book. Beautiful, just in line with what I've also been talking about. And he coined learning scrap. And he said learning scrap is that aspect of learning that is not applied. I am of the school of thought that training is a subset of learning and development. Training is a form of learning. There are various forms of learning. It could be coaching, It could be mentoring, it could be training, it could be job rotation. These are components of learning. And that is what I'm the school of thought of that. Training and development is not the same thing as learning and development. I'm sure as HR and NLG, you should know that. So as a result of my years of research, my years of practice, I found out that I decided to, because I navigated more to just training for now, because I have seen the gap for years about training. I've been on this journey on training since for over 14 years, researching, working with businesses, micro, small, medium, large organizations, trying to find out how can they show ROI before I even got to know about ROE for their businesses and all that. So I've been in this. So I came up with the term training scrap. More on training. This is all about training, nothing about learning, because training is a form of learning and development. So training scrap is a portion of training that is delivered but never applied on the job. That's just what training scrap is. And you can see it. How many organizations face it? This is research. Often 70% or more of training content goes unused. I had a CEO that was telling a friend of mine, he's the GM of HR in one of the oil and gas organizations, and he told me his CEO was telling him that he sent the big guys, that's the senior management, he sent them on training to Harvard. He was now asking the GM, how far? Oh boy, how far? What's the returns on these thousands of dollars we paid? The guy just smiled. There's no returns. They cannot show returns. So that is what training scrap. Those thousands of dollars they've paid to go to Harvard, down the drain. Most times, check your organizations, you agree with me. Most times, 70% or more of the training content goes unused. It leads to wasted resources, wasted time, missed result. You agree with me? If it is not applied, it's not worth it. I'm sure you agree with me. If it is not applied, then it's not worth it at all. Why do it when it's not applied? And so basically that is what training scrap is. Now let's look at a very clear, see this. Training delivered 100%. People enjoyed the training. They were dancing, singing, had good food. When we were giving their evaluation, post-evaluation reports, they gave the facilitator 5/5. 5/5. Everyone 5/5. We had a great time. It was beautiful. Came back, HR said, oh, come and show us what you learned. They came back, they thought they did, there's this thing they call, I pray I remember it, is so now some organization, what they do when you go for training, when you come back, you train other people. You teach them what you learned. They some even use it as, and we were doing in the banking sector, they used to use it on Mondays. We call it, I can't remember. I don't know why these things are just leaving my mind. If you can remember, yes, it's transfer of knowledge, but there's something they call it. Thank you so much, Sarah. Yes, transfer of knowledge. There's something they call it in the banking sector. I don't know if anybody who has worked in the banking sector. KSS. Yes, knowledge sharing session. KSS, just like what Zara said, transfer of knowledge. Yes. So HR plans it. You come. You've learned. You do what? You train other people. After that, what happens? All those that have trained other people when they came back, what has happened after that? And you think that is it, is over. No, nothing will happen. No, but they will not apply it. Some may even try to apply it and they will get tired or they will get frustrated. Or they will say, I beg, this thing is not working again. Let's go back to our old ways. So most times, training delivery is on point, which is the second phase in the training phase. There are three phases: the pre-phase, the during phase, and the post phase, which is the second phase. 100% done well. Now see what happened after that. Now just see what was applied. At least people can see this one. You can answer. I'm waiting for people to respond. How many percent was applied in this organization? How many percent was applied? I want to make sure that we are together. How many percent was applied? Who wants to share with us? Is there anybody that wants to share with us? Thank you, Zara. Zara said 30%. Thank you, Zara. That shows you're with us here. I don't know about other people there with us. 30% was applied. That was only what was applied. So now what happened to the remaining? How many percent has turned to training scrap? Who else is with us here? How many percent has turned to training scrap? Please, someone should share. How many percent has turned to training scrap? Uduak, thank you so much. 70%. 70% turned to training scrap. But wasn't the training well delivered? It was well delivered. Okay, let me ask. You can type into chat. It seems most of you cannot unmute your microphone to speak. So the training was delivered. 100% delivered. So why was only 30% applied? Let me ask. Thank you. Why was only 30% applied? Who wants to help us? You can type into chat. I will patiently wait. You can type into chat. Please, when I'm looking this way, just know that I'm looking at my second system. I use two systems when facilitating any webinar or training. Who wants to try? Why was only 30% applied and 70% became scrap? Is there anybody that wants to share with us? Anybody that wants to try? If nobody tries, I will not do this webinar again.
Hello.
Hi, Emmanuel. Okay, Emmanuel to the rescue. Okay, Emmanuel.
Yeah. So it's either expectations were not defined well. The expectations for the learning was not defined.
That's a good one. That's a good one, yeah.
So if it is not defined well, I mean, they could be looking at, they might have learned something that coming back, I don't know how to put it.
Yeah.
But I think my point is made.
But you tried. Yes, you tried, please. Expectations were not well defined. Very, very critical. Very good. Thank you so much. Any other person? Okay, I see something on the chat box. Zaru said, probably equipment were not made in place to assist in application of knowledge gain. Great. That is what in the 6 components, what is that called? Let me not wait for anybody to answer. Let me just answer. In the 6 components for training transfer effectiveness to happen, what is that called? That's called workplace work environment / processes. So Zaru, on point too. So there were no things applied. There were no equipment, tools, whatever it was that will help them to apply that knowledge gain was not in place. Yeah. Any other person? Okay, at least 2 of you have tried. Let me go ahead. So I won't take our time to ensure that we finish before the time we've said we'll finish. This is what happens. You can see the scrap. That's what happens. That's what your training turns into when it's not applied. And you see how irritating it is. Emmanuel said, yes, maybe the line manager did not follow up. Maybe they did not follow up. Was there an accountability? Was there a creation of that people, the line managers will support them, will create the motivating environment for them to apply it, all those things. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. So training looked great in the session, but disappeared in real life. That's it. Training looked great in the session, but what? Disappeared in real life. You agree with me? You don't need a textbook to define training scrap. I'm sure you've seen it in your organization. It has happened. You've lived it. You've talked about it. So this is for you to say, how is training scrap happening in my organization? How is training scrap happening in my organization? How? And how can I curtail it? Let me ask. So this is another activity. Have you seen training scrap in action in your organization? Is there anybody that wants to share with us? Have you seen training scrap in action in your organization? Can you think of a training that didn't lead to change? Can you think of a training that didn't lead to change? Is there anybody? Okay, if nobody is speaking, I'll continue because time is going. I just have 20 minutes more. Ask yourself, Ask yourself, what was the title of the focus of that training? That's a question to ask yourself. What was the title or the focus of that training? Was it ever applied on the job? If not, why? Was it about no follow-up, just like Emmanuel said? Or the wrong people, no manager support? What exactly? Or just like what Zara also said, no opportunity to apply, no tools. You can share your scrap story. What was wasted? Time, energy, reputation, money. These are things. And so unfortunate. And these are the implications of training scrap. What are the implications? Wasted budget, lost time and productivity, missed opportunity to improve employee performance, disillusion with training, what training stands for, negative perception of HR and L&D. They get a wrong perception about you. So now, what are the hidden costs of training that doesn't transfer in your organization? Is there anybody that wants to share? What are the hidden costs of training that does not transfer in your organization? What are the hidden costs? Okay, let me move forward. Training effectiveness versus training transfer versus training transfer effectiveness. We've talked about this before. Let me just revisit it. Training effectiveness just measures the success of the training program. What Kirkpatrick calls level 1 and level 2. Kirkpatrick is the 4 levels of evaluation. Focuses on learning objectives, short-term perspective. Training transfer measures the application of the training on the job. Focus on behavior change, what Kirkpatrick calls level 3. But this is medium-term perspective. It may just happen, someone may do it for 1 month, 2 months, and next thing they get tired. They stop. But TTE, training transfer effectiveness, is the sustained application on the job. And this is where I've been trying to bring people to since January. Whereby it is sustained. And see it very graphically shown. Training effectiveness versus training transfer versus training transfer effectiveness. Training effectiveness measures the learning engagement. Training transfer measures the application on the job. TTE measures the sustained performance and business impact. That's what TTE does. So progression of training to impact. And that is where we want you to get to. TTE, where you're able to show the impact. So this is just a definition for you. We've done this before, just like I said. So training effectiveness is the extent or the degree to which training is successful in producing the desired result. Training transfer is the extent to which the trainees effectively apply the acquired knowledge and skills from training and they demonstrate the desired behavior at the workplace. Which is where I'm now taking you to TTE. Training transfer effectiveness is the extent to which the knowledge and skills gained from training are consistently applied on the job in a way that leads to measurable performance, improvement, business impact. Take note, with intentional structures. Zara will talk about that. There are no intentional structures. Emmanuel talked about that. There was no intentional structures. With intentional structures in play to sustain the application over time. That is what TTE is. And that is where we want you to get to. So this is a sustained improvement. You learn, you apply continuously, performance rate goes high, business impact, we get more money as a business. So you see, it's not a juju, it's not cast, it's what it is, reality. You learn, you apply, sustained application consistently. Definitely performance will improve. Definitely there'll be business impact. So sustainable improvement, that is what we are looking for all your trainings. Okay. Let me just bring out all these things. Is there anybody that want to answer this? From what you've understood about training effectiveness, training transfer, and training transfer effectiveness, is there any training you've attended or facilitate it yourself. Can you show me, talk about either training effectiveness, training transfer, or if you've known, I'm sure some of you may not know what TTE is, but at least you've known what TTE is now. Is there anybody that wants to share? What impact did it have, if any? What was learned? What was learned? Was it actually applied? So for me, was it the training you have attended? Was it training effectiveness? You've seen what training effectiveness is. Or was it training transfer? Or have you got into TTE, training transfer effectiveness? Is there anybody that wants to share? Okay. Emmanuel, to the rescue again. Emmanuel, let's hear you.
So, Coach, you are bringing me to remember an experience I had when I was training a company. The HR called me to come and do the training, and it happened about 3 years ago. And I remember one of the trainees saying that, so I was asking of the feedback, and the trainee said, "Oh, so I can see that our management doesn't want to listen to what our grievances, and they brought a motivational speaker to come and talk to us."
Are you serious?
I don't know whether you... Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. So let me explain what Emmanuel said. Oh no, I wish we can get him back again because his network is giving him problem. Emmanuel said he was remembering a training that he conducted 3 years ago, and in the training they asked him to, the people said that the management were not listening to them. It's not listening to them, and the management brought a motivational speaker to come and speak to them. Can you imagine? Emmanuel came for training, to train people. The people that he wants to train, what are they saying? Oh no. Thank you for this so much. Thank you so much for this, Emmanuel. Because this is what we've been saying. The people that he came to train said, which kind of nonsense training have you come to train us? We've been talking to management, telling management what to do. They don't want to listen to us. Then they now brought you motivational speaker to come and talk to us. Emmanuel, please conclude with what happened. Please conclude the story.
Yeah. So I went to train them on team building, teamwork, and they had an issue. I mean, after the session, I had to do something we call the change model. What to stop, what to start, and what to continue. And you realize that all of them had cliques among the staff. There are cliques among the staff, meaning that they have this kind of backbiting amongst them, and different kinds of divisions in the staff, among the staff, and they are really struggling with this as a team. And so, I mean, it has become a very, very serious canker within the organization. So after evaluating and everything, that's when they said to me that one person was bold enough to tell me that instead of them to address the issue, they brought a motivational speaker to come and talk to them. And so I felt very disappointed because they called me a motivational speaker. Meanwhile, I was trying to. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Hi. How many of your employees have been bold enough to say? A lot are not bold enough to say it. How many of them have been bold enough? Some are not bold enough to say what? That you're bringing motivational speaker. But that's what's happening. Thank you so much for sharing, Emmanuel. That is what is happening. So why does training transfer effectiveness matter? Why? Because it ties training to business impact. It will tie training to business impact because it ensures that you're able to show ROI and ROE for all your training investment. Thirdly, it enhances your credibility as HR or L&D. If not for anything, let it enhance your credibility. Go and start TTE. Be an advocate of TTE. It reduces training scrap for your business. Now, TTE, training transfer effectiveness. It's not about beautiful training delivering alone, just like what Emmanuel went to do 3 years ago that they called him motivational speaker. It's not about beautiful training delivery. Training transfer effectiveness is not about high attendance or full classrooms. Training transfer effectiveness is not about certificate collection. Training transfer effectiveness is not about positive feedback forms, 5/5, 10/10, the best motivational speaker. It's not about satisfaction surveys. Training transfer effectiveness is not about satisfaction surveys, which I've talked about. Training transfer effectiveness is about application, sustained performance, and business impact. Please take note of that. ASB is about application, sustained performance, and business impact. That is what TTE is all about. Are you ready to do that? Because of time, we'll not do this activity. I will just talk through it because I have just barely 8 minutes. What I wanted to do was to map training to a business objective. So take this as an assignment. Is the training, I'm going to guide you to begin thinking like a TTE champion. That was the purpose of this activity. To guide each and every one of you, those watching this and those on the call, to guide you to start thinking like a training transfer effectiveness champion by asking, the question you should be asking, is this training solving a business problem or just filling a calendar? So your assignment is to map your training to a business objective. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick one training you have recently experienced or you facilitated. For people like Emmanuel that is a trainer, pick a training, not now, use it as an assignment. When you come next week Thursday, we'll talk about it. Pick a training you recently attended or you facilitated. On your jotter, please answer, what was the title or the focus of the training? Secondly, what was the stated objective of that training? Thirdly, which 2025, so not now, that time. So let's take it, if it's not this year, whichever year it was, which business objectives was it meant to support? I'm very sure it will not get up to this, but I would love to see what you will do next week. Is that link clear or was it just assumed? Last but not the least, what will need to change if it was not clear to make that alignment stronger? So you can take a snapshot of this. This is your assignment. When we come next week, we'll start from here. Because this is one of the biggest gaps I've seen in organizations. Training happening with no clear business anchor. Okay, so we are wrapping up. We talked about the TTE ecosystem last week. Emmanuel already talked about. For those just joining us, this is what we call the TTE ecosystem, the training transfer effectiveness ecosystem. For you to have successful training transfer, you must work with these 6 components. The executive leadership, the HR L&D function, which is the science of training transfer effectiveness, the employee, the work environment, which is what Zaru talked about, and the process, the trainer, internal or external, and the line manager, who is the art of training transfer effectiveness. So this is the TTE ecosystem. So I just wanted to briefly show you this. This is what we call, TTE is talking about sustainability that brings business impact, performance improvement, and business impact. Now, for it to be sustainable, I came up with this framework. We came up with this framework as a business. It's called the 2 layers of sustainability in TTE. So we have 2 layers of sustainability in TTE. So these are the 2 layers. One is called the TTE sustainability framework, which has to do with people, performance ownership, process, and environment and culture. For it to be sustainable, they keep applying what they've learned from every training they go. You must have a sustainability framework, and you must be intentional. You must plan structures, ways, put things in place to ensure that it is sustained. If not, they will get tired and it will end. So this is a framework on ensuring that TTE is sustainable. Then we also have what we call the 5 pillars of TTE. The 5 pillars of TTE sustainability framework. This is the operational part. This is the strategic. So the TTE sustainability framework is the strategic. It helps you to explain what must exist. What must exist at a strategic level. That's this one. What must exist at a strategic level. Why the 5 pillars of the TTE sustainability framework is operational. What it does is it helps you to execute that sustainability is in practice across departments, across teams, and across the culture. So this is what departmental goals, shared ownerships, tracking system, cultural alignment, behavioral feedback. We'll talk about this when we get to it. So for TTE to be sustainable, you must have strategy and systems must work together. That's how TTE becomes a lifestyle. What we are doing as a business is we want TTE to become a lifestyle for every business. Is it possible? Yes, it is. We want TTE to become a lifestyle for every business. You just need to do the work. Don't forget what I showed you. Difficult roads leads to what? Beautiful destination. Are you ready for the beautiful destination you want? Whereby all your training investment will show you ROI and ROE. This is the work. You have to put the work in place. I'm trying to wrap up now. I have just 3 minutes. Don't worry, we'll wrap up in 3 minutes. This is the 18 weeks program I told you about. We've started. We have people in class already. We have people from, some from Ghana, and we have the other from Nigeria. It's been wonderful. We've done 2 weeks now. Next week will be our 3rd week. It's not too late. You can join. So this is an 18 weeks transformational program that would help you to show ROI and ROE for your training investment. So we're going to just so we have what we call the impact case presentation, a case study, and they are going to use it to show ROI and ROE. We'll choose just one department or one unit and fit in their learning every week. They're applying it in that department and they will see ROI and ROE. So if you want to join, reach out to us, send us an email. It's not too late. We are just in the week 3. Next week is week 3. Next week, Tuesday. You can still join. So send us a message with the subject mastermind to info@mbrandconsultinggroup.com and tell us that you are ready. This is not for passive people. It is for the bold. Cohort 2. The money is doubling by Cohort 2. Yes, I just want to let you know. So if I were you, use this opportunity to do this now. By the time we finish Cohort 1 and we enter Cohort 2, the money is doubling. That's what it is. Cohort 1 was just a giveaway. Cohort 2 is not going to be the same thing. So last but not the least, we have our training engagement. Yeah. This is what we have. Last but not the least, the first training transfer effectiveness conference in the world that's never been done anywhere. It's called the International Training Transfer Effectiveness Conference. It's happening live and direct in Lagos, Nigeria, November 13 and 14 at the Lagos Oriental Hotel. It is a big news. Never has it happened in the world. In nowhere in the world have they done a conference on training transfer effectiveness. We are the first ones doing. We are bringing it. It's going to be hybrid. So for those of you in whichever part of the world you cannot join us live and join Lagos, Nigeria, please. We have the hybrid part, so you can join us online. Please, you can join us online. And so go to our website, www.mbrandconsultinggroup.com, click on ITTE conference and register. So you must not come to Lagos, Nigeria. Every experience those in Lagos will feel, you will feel it even though you join online. And it's cheaper for you to join online. So you don't need to pay ticket fees and all that. You can join online. And these are some of the speakers that will be coming. We have Melanie, the CEO of the Institute for Transfer Effectiveness, coming all the way from Switzerland. We have Anna coming from Germany, and we have other people. And we have Tom also coming all the way from Chicago. Yeah. Then this is what you are set to gain. If you come for this conference, all this certification, you get it at a reduced price. On this note, I just want to say, what new thing will you do next week? Come and share with us next week, Thursday. In conclusion, training alone doesn't create transformation. Application does. Old ways won't open new doors. Please do something new. And on this note, I just want to say, What's your next line of action? And I want to say thank you for joining. And this, I remain Sandra Iheanacho, aka The Oracle. Thank you so much, everyone. It's already time up. So we look forward to seeing you again next week, Thursday. Invite other people, invite somebody, invite someone to come.